This next adventure I had been looking forward to with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. We're traveling south to Pucón, an urban area that just happens to sit in the shadow of a volcano. People come from all over the world to see the city built on the slopes of the smoldering mountain. Amazingly, this high-risk area has been inhabited for thousands of years.
No tanto en la zona urbana, sino en el campo, la zona rural.
The city is dwarfed by the surrounding mountains, but they are nothing compared to the towering volcano. The sun is setting and the city is winding down for the night. We arrive at our cabin in the suburbs. I unpack and rush to bed, but my sleep will be restless. All I can think about is that the next day, I will trek the sleeping giant. There are 4 things you need to survive.
I don't like the death. I don't like the death.
The deadliest plants on the planet, so always be very careful. We gotta get this thing done. This stuff, in a disaster situation, is a lifesaver. You don't have to leave the city to connect with Mother Nature.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
There goes our ride. They just dropped us off here on Volcano Villarrica. It's my little map here. So you can see we've got all this volcanic soil and rock around us, and so we're just going to walk around and enjoy the fire portion of the trip. So let's go. We've been seeing these flowers all over the slopes, and they're just beautiful, and I love that they're on the slopes of a volcano, given that they're red and orange and basically the cover of lava. It's a great coincidence. The volcano that we're currently hiking on is one of 3 in the area. 2 of them are still active and 1 is dormant, and the one that we're on, Villarrica, it is active and it's actually smokes. It's a little intimidating to be walking on the slopes of a volcano, but it is a lot of fun too. So let's go see if we can find that crater. Turns out the plant is a relative of the mistletoe. It's called quintral, and hummingbirds love it. You can see all this rock behind me that's broken up. I think this was a lava flow from either the last eruption or one of the other more recent eruptions. And as you can see as we go, like even along here where the rock broke, and now it's this really rich soil that, oh hey, look, the clouds decided to part. If you look, I hope we can get that in the camera, the volcano's still smoking. That's a little nerve-wracking. This hike is taking a lot longer than we thought, and the map is in a foreign language. I read it as best I can and just try to stick to the main trail. So right here you can see there's a pretty clear delineation between where the vegetation is and where we just were with all the black rock, which I'm more and more convinced is the lava flow. So this is probably where the lava didn't hit from here on. Let's see what we can find. The volcano we're hiking on right now has erupted 4 times in the last 100 years. And there was an eruption in 1964 that destroyed half the town of Coñaripe, which is here on the slopes of the volcano, and 22 people were killed. In 1971, there was an eruption that killed 15 people and sent rock and mudslides and lava all the way into the lake that's about 2 or 3 miles from here. And then the last eruption, which was in 1984, which was 28 years ago, was actually even more violent than that. So I guess that's why they call this place House of the Devil. We're only about 10 minutes further in from that desolate area, and you can see this is almost like a temperate jungle. There's so much life here. There's birds, insects, lizards running all over the place. And so you can really tell the difference of where lava goes. It tends to destroy what's there, but then the soil it leaves behind as that lava breaks down can turn it into this. It's some of the richest soil on the planet. So this forest is home to the pudu, the smallest relative of the deer in this entire hemisphere. And it's actually in danger of extinction here in Chile. When we were in Santiago, I saw an advertisement saying, you know, save the pudu. And apparently it lives in this very forest. So in trees you see something like that, looks like a growth or a tumor of some sort. Oftentimes what will happen is an insect or something will come by and lay its larvae in it, and each one of those mounds is usually a nest or something. Some may be old, some may be new, but if you ever get lost in the woods, that's one place you can go looking for grubs for a little something to eat, if you're up for that. In the US, hikers likely wouldn't even be allowed into the steaming field of volcanic vents. In Chile, they simply advise you to enter with caution. So we're getting closer to the vent. The sun's reflecting off all the black rocks, so it's getting hotter, which is creating sort of a psychosomatic impression of, ooh, we're getting closer to lava. Yeah, it's like approaching Mordor. We're here at the craters, and I was wrong. It's not the sun coming off the rocks, because as we got closer, the air itself warmed up. In America, we would call these vents. Here in Chile, they call them cráteres. Basically, holes in the side of the volcano that when it erupts are more vents for the lava and dust and ash to come out. I'm gonna walk down to this big guy, see what it looks like. There's a trail that goes, so I don't think anybody's been swallowed up by it. It's really treacherous walking around here because there's so many small vents around and all this broken rock on top. Like I just stepped here and I realized as I look down, there's some holes here and I'm not really sure how far down they go. So I gotta be real careful as I'm walking around. So I was just leaning over this one vent looking in, and I don't know if the camera will catch it, but it's still smoking. So right now I'm standing on top of a smoking vent on a volcano. I mean, how can you beat anything like this? This has just been the best trip an urban nature man could hope for. This is just ridiculous. Holy cow. My dream of walking along the crater of a volcano is dashed. We are told any further travel requires a guide. We turn back, but on the hike out, Carolina tells me she has another adventure in mind. Who's up for a hanging glacier? So I consider myself a pretty active guy, but our guides are far outpacing us. The air's thin, and I partied too much last night. We just found a plant that looks like it's the same one we have in Los Angeles. It's called spur. Way into our hike, the path is blocked by deep snow. We can cross. I don't know if the water's gotten higher or if we just can't find our trail. How beautiful is that?